Yes, good morning.
Morning. So, so how is the weather at everybody's end? It's raining. There's a storm here in Chennai.
Over here it's sunny.
Oh, I see.
It usually rains after Diwali in Chennai. It will go until December. So.
Right, right. I see. Yeah, here it's been raining a lot. Anybody else who's having rains? I heard that Hyderabad has floods. Is anybody from Hyderabad here? Maybe not. I see. All right. So let me share the screen. No. Cancel. Window. Can everyone see the screen?
Yes.
Okay, thanks. Good. All right, so we have very few people attending today, just 11 so far. Should we wait for a few minutes? Nah, maybe not. Okay, let's get started. So, yesterday we discussed the Edmonds-Karp algorithm, right? So, it's basically the Ford-Fulkerson algorithm. The only difference is that rather than choosing an arbitrary f incrementing st path, you always choose a shortest f incrementing st path, right? And based on that, we did this example. So we had a flow f0, f1, f2, and f3, and that was a maximum flow, right? And what we observed, oh, give me 1 second. I need to turn off the notifications. Okay. What we observed is that the distance between S and T is always non-decreasing, right? So either it remains the same or it increases. Okay, when you go from the graph df0 to df1 to df2 and so on, right? So the distance was initially 1, then it became 2, it remained 2, and finally it became infinity, right? Because there was no st dipath. And that is the first lemma we are going to prove today, that the distance has to be non-decreasing. Okay, going from a flow f to a flow f prime by an incrementing path. Okay, and the second lemma says that when the distance remains the same, so in the case of f1 and f2, the distance remains the same, right? It's 2 in f1 and it's 2 in f2. In that case, what happens is you look at this set of arcs. These are the arcs that belong to some f incrementing st path. I'm calling this the z set. What will happen to this z set is that it will become smaller and smaller. It will become a proper subset of the previous z set. So if you look at this z set in the f1, it had 4 arcs, but in f2 it only has 2 arcs which were there in the original 4 arcs, right? So it has to be a proper subset, and these two lemmas imply that you will not need to do more than order m times n incrementations. Okay, and each step takes order m time, so the complexity is order m square n. Okay, so the goal today is to prove these two lemmas that we did not prove yesterday. Okay, are there any questions on why these two lemmas imply the complexity to be order m square n? Is everybody on top of this fact? Right, proving a lemma is only useful when you know what the lemma is used for, right? Otherwise there is no point in proving a lemma. Okay, so now that we know what these lemmas are useful for, we are going to prove them today. Okay, And we are going to need some notation and some setup, because it's not that these lemmas are difficult to prove, but they do require a fair bit of notation in order to express what's going on. The proofs are actually quite short, but there is a few directed graphs and there are going to be some auxiliary directed graphs. So all of that leads to um, a bit of notation which becomes a bit dense. Okay, so let's start with the setup. So what is our setup? We have a network N as usual. We have a particular flow F, and we are going to increment along a shortest F incrementing ST path P. Generally, I will just say incrementing path. Okay, I won't always say F incrementing ST path. So we have some incrementing path, which is the shortest one, and we increment on that path as we always do, and we get a new flow F prime. Okay. And just to have a bit more concrete idea, let's suppose that this path is P starting from V0 to Vk. So V0 is S and Vk is T. And the notation that we are going to use, that we also used yesterday, is that the distance with respect to the flow F between U and V denotes the length of a shortest UV dipath in the auxiliary digraph DF. Okay? And this is going to be infinity if no such dipath exists. Okay? As in the case of F3 in our example yesterday. The distance here was infinity because there was no ST dipath. Okay? Good. All right, so let's start with some observations. Supposing you take any vertex here, Vi. Okay? So Vi is some vertex on the path P. Then can someone tell me what is the distance between S and Vi? Can someone tell me what the distance is between S and Vi? I. Because this is the shortest path, so it also has to be the shortest path between S and Pi, right? Shortest dipath from S to Vi. What about Vi to T? What about Vi to T? What is the distance between Vi and T? K minus I. Thank you, Sriram. Okay, good. Another observation I want to make is the following. Suppose an arc UV of of D of F prime. Okay, so we are looking at the auxiliary digraph with respect to the new flow. Supposing there is an arc UV in F prime, right? D of F prime is not an arc of D of F. Okay? Then what is the conclusion you can arrive at? Supposing there is an arc UV, okay, which is in the auxiliary digraph with respect to the flow F prime, but it is not an arc in the auxiliary digraph with respect to the original flow F. Okay, so F is going to be the original flow, F prime is going to be the new flow. Okay, so then what can you say about this arc? Remember, we went from F to F prime by incrementing along the path P. So under what circumstance is it possible that a certain non-arc becomes an arc in the new auxiliary digraph? Anyone? right? Then it must be the case that this particular arc, so u and v, the uv arc in the graph has to be here, right? And what is happening is it is a forward arc. Let me see. So what we can say is that this has to be on the path P. Okay. And what will happen is that u will be vi and v will be vi plus, actually it will be the other way around. Yeah, u will be vi and v will be vi minus 1 for some I. Let's think about this. Why? So it should be clear that it is on the path. Okay, actually, to be very precise, I'm looking at the die path, so I should also be precise about the order. So actually, it should be VU. Yeah, the order is important. Remember, we are saying that this is not an arc of this graph, right? Okay, but it is an arc in the new digraph, which means the flow must have changed on this arc, because if you don't change the flow, then you cannot get a new arc, right? For any arc that is not on the path, there are not going to be any changes. Okay, so it means that because there is some change, this has to be on the path, and on the path we know that this is not an arc in df, which means uv is not in df, so it has to be that v appears somewhere and u appears somewhere else. And so that is why we can say that v is equal to vi minus 1 and u is equal to vi for some I. Is that clear? Is everybody with me?
Yes.
Okay, good. Okay, so now that we have these two observations, let's start with proving the lemmas. Okay. So I will write down the lemmas again, which we wrote yesterday. They don't take too long to write. For each vertex V of the digraph D, the distance in f prime between S and V has to be greater than or equal to the distance in F between S and V. Okay. And second part is the distance is the same thing, but instead of S, we are looking at T. So V and T is greater than or equal to the distance in F between V and T. Okay. We will prove this one, and the proof of the second one is completely analogous. So you should do it on your own. So this second one is an exercise analogous to previous one. Okay. So let's prove this statement. All right. Well, we are trying to prove this statement, right? So we are taking an arbitrary vertex and we want to show that the distance is non-decreasing when you go from the flow F to F prime. Okay. So suppose for the sake of contradiction, there exists a vertex V such that the distance in f prime between S and V is strictly lesser than the distance in f between S and V. Okay? So just one quick note. Well, a lot of you did well on assignment 1, but quite a few of you did not. And many times you lost marks for your writing and for not being able to convey rigorously what you wanted to. But that doesn't matter because you are marked on what you wrote. So maybe take this proof as an example, as another reminder of how a rigorous proof is written. Okay? Good. All right. So there is some vertex which violates this inequality. Okay? All right. So what we will do is we will choose such a vertex. We will choose such a vertex V. Okay? By such I mean I'm referring to the previous statement. A vertex which violates the inequality. So that the distance with respect to f prime is as small as possible. Okay? We can always do this, right? Because these are non-negative numbers. In fact, can someone tell me why this is true? Why is this true?
What do you mean? Why?
Why can
Like
we say that it is greater than 0?
distance will always be positive if it's on the same vertex, right?
Exactly. It is not the same vertex. It can't be the same vertex S, right? Because if it was S, then the distance would be exactly equal in both the graphs, F and F prime, right? So clearly, because V is not the same as S. Okay? That's exactly what I was looking for. Thanks. Okay? So now let's do the following. Let Q denote an SV dipath in the auxiliary digraph with respect to f prime of the shortest length, right? We know that the length is this distance of f prime between s and v. So we will take a path of this length. Okay? So this is going on in the digraph df prime. Okay? So this is what it looks like. We start from S. And this is our vertex V. Okay? And this is the path Q, dipath Q. Okay? Good. What we will do is, we will look at the second last vertex. We will use that towards our proof. Okay? So, let's see. Distance with respect to f prime in S and V is equal to distance with respect to f prime between S and U plus 1. Is this clear to everyone? Why is the distance between S and V exactly 1 more than the distance between S and U? It's because Q is the shortest dipath, right? And U is the preceding vertex. If there was a shorter path, then you would get a shorter path to vertex V. Okay? Good. All right. Now, I want to put down some things. This I claim is greater than or equal to distance in F between S and U plus 1. Why? Why is this true? How did we choose the vertex V? Is it clear why this is true? Remember, we chose the vertex V so that the distance between S and V in F prime is as small as possible. Right? Okay? And this vertex has to violate the inequality that we are trying to prove, which means that at any other vertex which is at shorter distance actually satisfies the inequality we are trying to prove. Okay, so for any other vertex like U, which is at shorter distance, the distance between F prime in F prime between S and U has to be greater than or equal to the distance in F. Okay, and that is what gives us this inequality by our choice of vertex V. Okay, and another thing I want to say is this. This is actually easier because V is a vertex for which we know that the inequality is not satisfied. Right? So this is by our hypothesis. This is by our assumption. Okay? In particular, let's write down the important part. The distance in F between S and V is greater than equal to is strictly greater than, because we have a strictly greater than here. Is strictly greater than the distance in F between S and U plus 1. Okay? What does this imply? Can someone tell me what this implies? Somehow, when in the graph F, in the auxiliary digraph DF, the distance between S and V is more than the distance between S and U plus 1. What does this mean? But we know that the distance between S and U is the same as the new graph, right? Just to remind you, for U, we know that distance between S and U in F is the same as the distance between S and U in F prime, right? This we know. So how is it that the distance between S and V is somehow more than this quantity? Can anyone tell me what's going on? I'll give you a hint. There was a reason we studied these two observations. Right, right, exactly. This is what is happening. The only reason this can be true is because UV is an arc of D of F prime, but it is not in the previous auxiliary digraph. Right? We know that it is an arc of D of F prime because this is the graph, this is the directed graph D of F prime. We know that this arc exists here, right? But if this arc was also in the previous digraph, then this would not be the case, right? If this arc was there, then this would be an equality. But because this is an inequality, it must be the case that this arc was not there in the previous auxiliary digraph. Okay, good. Okay, well, in that case, let us go to our observation. We made the observation that when this happens, the arc VU has to be part of the path P. Okay? So this means that in our path P, remember this is not the path Q, this is the path P on which we did the incrementation. Right? This is the incrementing path. Okay? So what must happen is that VU is an arc here, and that means that V is equal to V minus 1 and U is equal to Vi for some I. Okay? All right. What is the problem now? I want you to look at this here and this and see if there is a problem. Look at this one and look at this path. And can someone tell me what is the problem?
In the path from S to V, the distance will be lesser than S to U.
Right. So what is the distance between S to V? This is V0 and this is Vi minus 1. What is the distance?
I minus 1.
I minus 1. Okay. And now what is the distance between S and U?
I.
Right.
So it will be I
Right?
plus 1.
Thank you. Right. So this is a contradiction. Right? Is everybody clear with the proof? Right? So we assume that the inequality does not hold, and we picked a vertex which is at shortest distance in F prime. Right? And then we argued that, well, we went through a argument using the previous vertex U. Right? So we looked at this vertex. And what must happen is that because we chose the vertex V to be at a shortest distance from S, U cannot violate the inequality. U has to actually satisfy the inequality, right? And then using that information and the fact that we went from F to F prime in a very specific manner, we argued that this arc in the opposite direction has to be on the path. VU has to be on the path P. Right? And then we argued, we got to the argument that I minus 1 is greater than I plus 1, right? Okay. Are there any questions? Any part which was not clear? All right. If not, then we are going to move on to the next lemma. But I need a definition. Okay, so let me define this. Okay. So for flow F, and similarly for F prime, Z of F is going to be the set of all arcs that participate in some shortest F incrementing ST path. Okay. So these are the arcs of the original digraph. These are not the arcs of the auxiliary digraph. but they will be related to arcs in the auxiliary digraph, because we know how the auxiliary digraph is constructed, right? So although they are arcs in the original digraph, you also have to keep in mind that they may induce arcs in the auxiliary digraph, right? So in particular, if there was an arc from U to V in the original digraph, it could either become U to V in the auxiliary digraph, or it could also become V to U in the auxiliary digraph. And it could be both. Okay? So this is worth keeping in mind, that in the original digraph, such an arc may induce either of these two arcs or both of them in the auxiliary digraph. Okay? So let's go back to our example quickly. So this lemma says that whenever the distance remains the same, this Z set has to become smaller, in the sense that it has to be a proper subset of the original Z set, of the previous Z set. Okay? So in this example, the Z set was 4 arcs, and here it is exactly 2 of those 4 arcs. Okay? So that is the content of our next lemma. Okay. So we are going to assume that the distance remains the same. Supposing the distance in f prime between S and T is the same as the distance in f between S and T. Okay? Then we claim that the Z set corresponding to f prime is a proper subset of the Z set corresponding to f, right? So this means proper subset. It cannot be exactly equal to the same set. Some element has to disappear. Okay? Is it clear what the statement of the lemma is saying? Is it clear why we are proving the lemma?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you. All right, so let's proceed to prove this. And we are going to make use of the previous lemma to prove this lemma at some point. All right. I think at some point in my PhD, I understood these proofs and I had completely forgotten them. So I actually struggled quite a bit to figure out what's going on, because the book I'm following uses an extremely dense notation. At least I find it dense. All right, let's begin. So let K be the distance between S and T. It's already clear because I already set up the notation that the path P goes from V0 to VT, VK, right? So basically we are just referring to this notation again. So the distance between S and T is K in F, right? And suppose that A is some arc in Z with respect to F prime, right? Okay, so remember, if we are trying to prove that something is a proper subset, we need to show that every element that is here is also here, and then we need to show that there is at least some element here which is, sorry, there is at least some element here on the right side which is not on the left side, right? So those are the two things we are going to prove. Let's begin with the subset part. Okay, so we are going to need some observations. So A is an arc, A is in the Z set with respect to F prime, right? Which means it belongs to some shortest F prime incrementing path. Okay? Well, if it belongs to some shortest F prime incrementing path, then it means that in the auxiliary digraph, we must be using that arc either in the forward direction or in the reverse direction. Okay? So that is what I mean by the next statement. Then A induces an arc UV of D of F prime. Okay? So A could be UV or VU, we don't know. But it induces an arc UV in the auxiliary digraph with respect to F prime. Okay? Good. And that means, okay, and we know that the distance is actually the same for both of the flows, F and F prime. Okay? This implies that the distance between S and U, so let's just make a drawing. So in the graph df prime, what is happening? There is a path, let's say from S to T. There has to be some path which uses this arc, right? Because this is what this means, that it is used by some shortest path. So I'm looking at the auxiliary digraph. So this is a die path. Maybe I should put this whole thing. Okay. All right. And which means that the distance between S and U will be I minus 1 for some I, and the distance between these two will be K minus I for the same I. Okay? Because remember, the distance between S and T has not changed in the flows F and F prime. That is our hypothesis. Okay? So this implies that the distance in F prime between S and U is I minus 1, and the distance in F prime between V and T is K minus I for some I. Is everybody with me?
Yes.
Okay, good. Now let's see. Okay. Now we want to use the previous lemma. So distance between S and U with respect to F plus the distance between V and T with respect to F, I claim is less than equal to the distance in F prime between S and U and the distance between V and T in F prime. Why is this the case? Because the flow, the distance has to be, in F prime, it has to be greater than or equal to the distance in F between any two vertices, between the source and any vertex and the target T, right? This is the previous lemma. We have already proved it. Okay, good. And how much is this? How much is this quantity? It is I minus 1 plus K minus I. And so that is equal to K minus 1, right? Okay, good. All right. So now that we have made these observations, let's go back to our target, our goal. Our goal is to show that this arc, which is in Z set with respect to F prime, is also in Z set with respect to F, right? Okay. So our goal is to show that A is in ZF, right? Well, suppose for the sake of contradiction, this is not the case. Suppose that A is not in this set. Okay. All right. What does it mean? Supposing this is not an arc in a shortest path in the flow F with respect to the flow F. Okay. So I'm going to make a quick drawing now. So in this graph DF, we know that we can go from S to U by some directed path. And then we can go from V to T by some directed path. Okay. What is the distance? This quantity, we have already observed that this is less than equal to k minus 1. If you add up these two distances, this will be less than equal to k minus 1. Okay. We know that the distance from S to T is actually equal to k, which means that this particular arc, well, we are assuming that A is not in the directed graph, right? Okay. 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 Right. So if there was this arc here, I convinced myself last night this was true. What happened? Okay. Okay, well, I'm going to write down what I want to, the conclusion I want to arrive at, and see if somebody can help. Okay. So I want to arrive at the conclusion somehow. I am not able to arrive at it yet. A is part of the path P. I want to arrive at this conclusion that A is in the path P, which we chose to do the incrementation. Okay. And if it is part of the path P, then it would mean that it is in the set ZF, right? Because P is the shortest path. So if this is true, then I would know that A is in Z of F, and that would be a contradiction because we started by assuming that A is not in Z of F. Okay. So how do I arrive at this conclusion that A has to be part of the path P? Let me see. Okay. Oh, okay. All right. So we are making this assumption for the sake of contradiction, right? This is for the sake of contradiction. Okay. Okay. What does it mean that this arc is not in the Z set of F? Well, it means, but it is in the Z set with respect to the new flow F prime. Well, that means that the flow would have changed on this arc. Okay, because if the flow does not change, then it would also be in this set, because this also gives you a shortest path. Remember, this distance is at most k minus 1. So if I put this arc here, then I will get a distance of k, right? And that would be a shortest path, right? So this means that the flow must have changed, which is why this arc is not on this path, right? But how can the flow change? For the flow to change, it must have been on the original path P. Remember, this is not the path P. This is not the path P. This is just based on the fact that these two distances add up to k minus 1. Okay, so this could be any path. But if the flow changes, then it has to be on the path on which we did the augmentation. But the path on which we did the augmentation was the shortest path. And therefore, A belongs to some shortest path, and that is the definition of the Z set. Okay? Is that clear? I mean, I am also verifying things right now and making sure that I'm not saying some lies. So please ask questions if you are not sure about what's going on. Remember, it's easier for me to make a mistake because my goal is to convince you. So I have a vested interest in convincing you. It's harder for you to make a mistake, right? Your goal is to not be convinced as far as possible. So what happened here? We assume that it is not in the set. And then we said that, well, if it is not in the set, then the flow must have changed. Because if the flow remained the same, right, if the flow would have remained the same, then UV, which was an arc in F prime, would be an arc in F. Oh, this is more clear. Okay, okay. Let me write down. This is clearer. If the flow is unchanged, then UV would also be an arc in the new in F, right? We know that UV is an arc in this graph. If the flow did not change, it would also be an arc here, and then you would get a path which has length k, right? Okay, so that would mean that it belongs to a shortest path, but we are assuming that it does not belong to a shortest path. Therefore, the flow must have changed. But for the flow to change, it must be on the original incrementing path, and so it belongs to P. But if it belongs to P, which is a shortest path, then it belongs to ZF, and that is a contradiction because we started with the assumption that it is not in ZF. Okay? Okay, I am convinced now. Let me know if you are not convinced. It is 8:52, so we will not be able to complete this proof today, which is actually a good thing because this was a bit confusing. So what we have proved so far is that ZF is a subset of Z. Okay, we have proved this. ZF prime is a subset of ZF because we took an element here and we showed that this element also belongs to this set. Okay, tomorrow what we'll do is we'll show that there is some element here which is not on the left side. Okay, so this is tomorrow. There exists some arc A in ZF such that A is not in Z of F prime. Okay, and tomorrow we'll complete this proof. This shouldn't take too long. This is actually short. You can try it as an exercise. Try yourself, but we'll prove it tomorrow. Okay, and this also gives you a chance to go through this entire argument and convince yourself that everything works. And if it does not work, then we discuss again tomorrow. Okay? Thanks. I'll be here for another 5-10 minutes for any questions. Wow, this is a confusing proof.
Can you again repeat what you have done?
Okay, so which part would you like me to explain more?
The part that
This
where
one?
you no. From the part f of a is not equals to f dash a.
F of A is not equal to, oh, this from here.
Yeah.
Okay. So are you convinced about this particular statement? Or do you want me to explain why this statement is true?
If the which one?
F of A
This
is not equal to F prime of A.
why it is true?
Okay. Why is it true? Okay, good.
Yeah.
Good. So we are assuming that this arc is not in the Z set with respect to F. Right?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, that is our assumption. We started with this assumption that this arc is not in the Z set of F, because if we know that this is true, then we have nothing to prove, right? So that is why we are assuming that this is not true. Okay,
Yes.
so why is it not in the Z set? Well, I claim that if it is not in the Z set, then F of A is not equal to F prime of A. Supposing this is not true, supposing the flow is the same in on the arc A in both F and F prime. Okay,
Yeah.
then what would it mean? Then it would mean that if the flow does not change, then this arc UV, which existed in this graph, would also exist in the new graph. Do you agree?
Sorry. What?
Okay, let me write it down here. So let me write down separately. Let me make some space here. Maybe I should explain it slightly differently. So if f of a is equal to f of a prime, oh sorry, f prime of a, right? So the new flow is the same as the old flow. Then my claim is that this arc u to v, remember uv corresponds to a, right?
Yes.
Okay, so this I'm claiming that u to v, it was an arc in f prime, we know that. It will also be an arc in f,
Okay.
right? Then uv will also be an arc in f. Okay,
Yeah. Yeah.
but if it is an arc in f, if it is an arc in f, then let us go to this drawing. Look at this drawing. We know that the distance between s and u and v and t, if you add up, it is at most k minus 1. This is what we proved here,
Mm,
right? If uv was an arc, then what it would mean is that the distance between s and t would be at most k,
okay. Yeah.
right? Okay, and in particular uv would belong to the shortest path,
Yes.
right? This would mean that uv belongs to a shortest st dipath.
Yeah.
Okay, because of this drawing, this would be a shortest st dipath, and that would mean that a is in zf. Give me a second. It would belong to a shortest st dipath, and that would mean that it is in zf,
Right.
right? But we assume that this is not true, therefore the flow cannot be the same. So yeah, there is a long argument. You are right. There is actually a long argument here, which I had condensed, which is why I myself got confused. Right? So you are right. This really needs more explanation. Right?
Yes,
If we
because
assume
of
this is
that I didn't
exactly
understand.
okay, right. So this is good, right? So this is why we can assume that the flow has changed, and now the rest of it should be hopefully clear.
Yeah.
Right? Okay.
Yes.
So in the type notes, I will elaborate this. Okay, needs elaboration. Thanks. Any other questions?
No.
Okay. Thank you, Shafali. So we have a meeting today afternoon, right? 2:30.
Yes.
Okay, so I'll see you
2:30.
then. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay,
Thanks.
bye.
Bye.